Surviving Without Survivor specialists Phil and Alexa are back, and if you are tuning in fresh off of our Survivor China episode 1 rewatch, you'll know that we're surviving without Survivor a little bit better now that we're actually watching Survivor. But today, we are continuing with our Disney animated classics series. We are on episode 5. If you've missed the first 4, make sure to run back and watch the first 4. They've been a lot of fun. And episode 5 is the Beauty and the Beast rewatch. From 1991, not the one with Emma Watson, the original, or not the original, because the original is from like 1930 something, but the OG animated one with all the beautiful songs and all of that wondrousness. We are going to be talking about that one. Alexa, I know you weren't as big of a fan as I am, considering it's my favorite one, but
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Keep going.
Take a look at
Alexa.
She's having a hard time connecting to the internet.
Having a hard time connecting to this movie. This movie is better than I remember. Obviously, it's one of the best. And in our China rewatch, you just said it is the best. Definitely one of the better Disney movies. I think the music is great. I think Gaston is absolutely ridiculous.
Gaston is every guy that Alexa has been in love with.
He's every guy I've ever dated. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
You know, all of the side characters are amazing. This is not my favorite, but I still very much like it.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it a lot more this go around.
Yeah, and I think out of all the ones we've watched, and maybe I don't know which one you've liked out of the 5 we've done, but we've done Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Peter Pan, The Jungle Book, Little Mermaid, and now Beauty and the Beast. This is my favorite out of those 5 by far. And like it starts to get a little bit closer once you get into like The Lion King and movies like that. But out of those 5, it's definitely my favorite. What's up, Alexa? You're giggling.
I just got a text from an ex-boyfriend, and he was like, "I resent that." So
nice. Well, I'm glad that he doesn't want to be Gaston.
I try to hold in.
Didn't work.
That was too perfectly timed. I think out of the 4 that we watched so far, I think Little Mermaid's my favorite. I would go probably Little Mermaid, Peter Pan, Jungle Book, and then Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is probably my power.
Where's Beauty and the Beast?
I'd probably put it at second, actually. Little Mermaid's still my favorite.
That's fine. I mean, Little Mermaid's a very, chick movie. It's a little bit more you than me.
Big chick girl over here.
Yeah, it's a big chick girl. But yeah, so this one though, yeah, Gaston is fun. The music is a lot of fun. So this one is just, I feel like this is just like one of those classics. It also came out like right before I was born. So like this was like the movie that like my parents would weirdly talk about because I think that they were fascinated because like my dad is like a huge movie fan. So for him, he always talks about like how like when movies are nominated for Best Picture and things like that. And that's kind of where like it trickled down to me. So like he would always talk about Beauty and the Beast. And I think it was like one of those things that would come up in conversation in like the early 90s because if you were a movie fan, it was the only animated movie to be nominated for Best Picture. And so like when The Lion King would come out or something like that, I'd be like, well, they're going to nominate that one too. And like, it's like the snobby, like wannabe cinephiles talking about it that way.
Ooh, cinephile, good word.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, it's the only file that you want to be. But
I wasn't going to say it. But.
Yeah. But so I wonder if like, that's just why I heard about it more or something growing up. But Beauty and the Beast for me was just like one of those movies that like, even being like a boy was always for some reason, just like there. Like Little Mermaid wasn't there while I was growing up, but the Beauty and the Beast was always there.
Did you find yourself relating to the Beast?
No, I related to Lumiere.
Yeah. Oh, no, not her crazy dad.
No, her crazy dad is fantastic though. Can we also talk about that when the crazy dad goes on his journey, and this is jumping a little too far ahead, but when the crazy dad goes on like his journey through the woods, it goes from like beautiful and sunny, dark and snowy or something, then it's raining, and then he's just like back and it is an absolute blizzard and he is stuck outside.
Yeah, it's like a 9-month process.
Yeah, except it's like, I think within like a day and a half.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't really relate to him. No, I was definitely more of a Lumiere. What about you, Alexa? Are you a Cogsworth?
I am definitely not. I probably relate most to the horse. I feel like that horse really got kind of screwed over. Probably, again, the animal is the LVP. Horse just kind of sits outside, and then when it's needed, it's like, all right, got a dip.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say that he didn't get LVP because he's the one who is telling Bell's dad don't go that way because that way is clearly bad. Go this way because it's clear and sunny and there's birds and all of that stuff. And Belle's dad continues to insist on going down the shortcut, which is really just bad.
LVP, he doesn't get what he wants.
But he can't. There's reins on him. He's being yanked in the other direction. He can't help that.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
There you go. Gamer girl's on my side. Maurice is the LVP for not listening to the horse.
Yeah, he's the LVP.
Yeah, that's the dad. So I think he's the LVP, not the actual horse. Anyway,
but we have in a lot of Disney movies there are not parents. In Peter Pan they exist, but they're useless. In this one, her dad is a pretty prominent part of the story.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, the mom is never even mentioned, which is interesting. Because what's kind of funny about Disney movies is like they always seem to have like, oh, your mother died, and that's why you're doing what you're doing. Which now I'm saying, what's funny about Disney movies, and then I say your mother died. You're welcome, everybody. But so like it always either starts with like your mother died or your father died, and that is what drove you to do what you must do. In this one, it's like, yeah, Belle's mom's not in the picture.
Whatever. She's got
maybe Belle's mom's not in the picture because she married like a 95-year-old balding man who makes wood chopper things that literally are an axe that is auto, just like, I'm gonna kill you. I mean, maybe that's not.
And like, I think he's trying to bring it to a fair. I think he's trying to show this thing off too.
He is. We got to go back to the beginning. So that we can give some context to this for anybody who's listening. I love the opening to this. I think the opening to this movie is really, really cool. I like the way it's done in the stained glass window. I think that's very interesting. And I love the music for this when it's like coming in and it's the really obvious 3D, because I'm pretty sure this one's not hand drawn, or it's not the same type of hand drawn that the Little Mermaid was. Alexa's still getting texts from ex-boyfriends, I think. But
no, I'm not.
It's not the same type of hand drawn as the Little Mermaid, so it looks different. But I love the way they did with the stained glass and how they told the whole backstory in that really cool looking way where it was all moving. I think that's just so interesting.
We have a bit of continuity with old women with magical powers ruining someone's life or trying to ruin someone's life.
Why did she have to come and even bother the guy in the first place?
I don't know. I think because he was being a jackass.
But was he? Who was he being mean to?
I think he was just really cocky and obnoxious, and he was really self-centered, and you got to bring them down a peg.
Maybe. Here's John Millsap, but the 90s was the time in pop culture where mothers were just absent.
Oh, wow.
And that's why so many of us have grown up so messed up.
Hi, Mom. I love you.
Yeah. But yeah, so I do. Maybe he was just mean.
The prince was in a castle and had everything, but he was a dick.
Okay, so that's it. So he was just mean. So this old lady who looks eerily similar to the one from Snow White shows up and is like, hey, man, I'm here to ruin your life. Either you're going to fall in love with me or show me kindness, or I'm going to turn you into an animal. That seems reasonable. I wish that lady would show up in LA. I would pay her.
Would you like to turn into an animal?
No, not for me, but she needs to go door to door in this city and just do this to everybody, because I guarantee you there'd be a lot of beasts running around. Anyway, side note. But yeah, that's my new Halloween wish. I know Halloween is going to be very weird in the time of COVID, but my Halloween wish is that this lady shows up to turn random people into beasts who deserve it.
Yeah. God, you need to get out of Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. The worst place on earth. All right. But anyway, yes, she does this. She decides, well, you weren't nice to me. Now I'm going to become beautiful just before I turn you into a beast. It's very like, what's his name? Ramsay from Game of Thrones. She's kind of got that kind of vibe going there where it's like, I'm going to torture you. Like, I really don't like you.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yes. But yeah, and this is another one where once we get to Belle, this is out of the movies we watched so far, I think this is the worst when it comes to women being attractive, have value. Like Belle is weird because she reads, and that is a consistent kind of thing. And so I think this old woman suddenly becoming hot after this guy is a jerk to her, I think that like sets the stage for the rest of this movie, because again, we've got Gaston, who is absolutely ridiculous.
Gaston.
Gaston's so good.
What's amazing about Beauty and the Beast is essentially college.
But John Welch has a great point. She punishes all of his servants too. Yes, I forgot about that.
Not necessary. Not necessary at all.
I think that was a little
unnecessary. Like, what did Lumiere do? What did Cogsworth do? Cogsworth seems like a bit of an asshole. But what did he do?
Nothing.
But anyway, we go past this. All of a sudden, there's a rose. If the rose runs out by his 21st birthday, which I have a couple continuity errors here. I have one big one.
Well,
I have one big one.
21's a tough time to fall in love.
Not 21. No, but the movie was set in Olden. It's provincial life. I mean, there's nothing else going on.
That's like old.
There must be more to this provincial life. Belle's dad is 27 years old in this movie. That's all he is. He just looks older. But it's like Borat. You watch Borat when he's like, this is my mother or whatever. And it's like, she's 36 and she's like literally like a 90-year-old woman. That's what I feel like in this. But so we have this 21. If the petals fall off by the time he turns 21, he hasn't shown love and had somebody else fall in love with him, he can no longer transform away from the beast.
Correct.
Later in the movie, somebody says we've been like this for 10 years. How in the world was this prince such a dick at 11 that he deserved to be turned into an animal that then could not fall in love or be fallen in love? When I was 11, I was a really mean person. Every 11-year-old's mean.
11-year-olds suck. He didn't look 11. I'm just saying he looked like a strong 18.
I might have just misunderstood what was said, but I'm pretty sure there's a part in the movie where they say we've been like this for 10 years. And maybe it's an exaggeration, but Disney movies are normally very literal.
Directly literal. That thing is real life.
I mean, they literally name her Belle.
Which means beautiful, but also she's apparently weird, but also Gaston wants to marry her. Like the whole concept of Belle is also very inconsistent, I would say, because the opening song is about how weird she is,
but also
very,
there is no
and cute and this and that.
Yeah, there is no wonder that her name means beauty. That's in there too. All that. Here's John Millsap coming up though. It's Lumiere's line and Be Our Guest. It's a
John
direct quote.
Do you want to come on right
now?
Yeah,
I'm telling you though, he says that about being like that for 10 years. It's crazy. So
I wrote all of these old women think she's weird. Why is she weird and ugly? But her name is Belle. It's just all very. I don't think the continuity.
I don't think they want her to be ugly. I don't think that they're calling her ugly. I think they're just saying that she's a little plain, because the girls actually say, the really hot girls say, it is no wonder that her name means beauty, because they're saying that she's cute, like she's attractive and all of that. But it's weird that she's more obsessed with her books than Gaston, who is literally every girl's dream. And I don't, that's more of like what the setup is here, which I'll be honest is like my favorite setup of all of these love stories, because up until this point, it's very much like the guy and the girl are out of reach from each other. And that's really all there is. There's no secondary.
No triangle.
Yeah, there's no other person. Like Ariel doesn't have somebody. Snow White doesn't have somebody. Like there's nobody else there. And I think what makes this one so good is that you have Gaston, who is just the blubbering idiot who is so into himself, and we'll get to his song because it really is like one of the greats of all time. I'm especially good at expectorating is the greatest line in the history of film.
I like no one spits like Gaston.
Well, but that's what it is. It's no one spits like Gaston, and then he says, "Yes, I'm especially good at expectorating." It's amazing.
It's unreal. The only time that word's ever been used.
It's so good, and it's in a kids movie. But I love the way they characterize Gaston, where like we're so used to seeing up until this point the girls need the man to save them. In all of these movies, it's always they need to be saved by the man. When are they going to come and kiss them and all of that? And this does the reverse of it. She is like, Gaston needs her and the beast needs her. And really, her dad needs her. This could be the greatest work of feminist literature in the history of time. Okay,
it really is, especially because Gaston has the beautiful line of, "It's not good for a woman to read; they get ideas."
One of, if not the most important warnings to give your children. That line right there. Oh my God!
Oh, that was great.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Sorry,
That's so good.
but I understand. But that is a really good point, because in Little Mermaid, she is willing to leave her family for a man.
Yes.
In this case, she actually sets her father free. So maybe in a weird way also leaves her family for a man, but doesn't realize it at the time.
This is 1991 was the beginning of the feminist revolution. This is it. I am convinced. This moment right here. But if you really think about it, and we don't see this, especially in a Disney movie, we think about the complexity of Beauty and the Beast. And these are not the reasons I like this movie, but maybe these are the reasons why it was so well respected at the time. But when you look at this movie, this is a female character who is trying to stay away from the guy because she wants nothing to do with him. She wants to make something for herself. She wants to get her father to happiness and to everything he wants. And she hates the Beast guy and doesn't just instantly fall for him because, oh, well, I need to be saved from something. He has to earn her respect. What is this nonsense of 1991?
It's nonsense. And Beast is socially awkward, and she's the one who kind of like challenges him. She's the one who kind of gives it to him. So it is a really great dynamic. You're right. This is true feminist.
I hate it. No, maybe I hate this movie. Maybe that's why I should.
That's why I hate it. Yeah, I mean, you love this one, and this one's not for me.
Yeah.
But Gaston, after telling her that she shouldn't read, he then says, "Come to this tavern and look at all of my trophies." And he is just like a quote box here. And so he said, "Oh, you know what? It's actually there's another point where he says something insane, but." He has all these trophies, I think, from hunting and killing things. Yeah,
he's a hunter, which is also a great characterization. The hunter going after the beast. That's why he wants to take down the beast. It's not just to get Belle. It's also to take down the beast.
He's also 7 feet tall. He's gigantic.
Oh, yeah. He's huge.
He is huge.
He's a perfect specimen. I mean, I got to literally pull up the
lyrics.
I'm pulling them up because we're going to talk about it later. But let's talk about this first scene, because I actually really like this opening song, and I think it's one of the better intro songs. And what I always love about Disney, and I think this would just be perfect if like this was like our world in general, if people just said exactly what they felt all the time, but it was always nice and kind. Or even if the villains were like Gaston, it's really easy to understand what Gaston is thinking, which is why ultimately it's easy to overthrow him at the end of the movie. But when I think about like this opening song, like she is telling you everything she wants to do. She wants to read. There's got to be more than this life. All the girls are talking about how they just love Gaston and how he's going to make Belle his wife. LeFou is just LeFou. He's the best. But it's a great opening song, and I like how it like takes you through the town, and it's like, oh, she's just in the middle of this like nowhere dump. But it's one of those things where like they actually are able to incorporate Gaston without Gaston and her actually interacting right away. And so we're getting this dynamic between the two of them where he wants her and she's ignoring him and she's more obsessed. She goes to the library. You've already read this one. Well, you can just have it. And it's like, okay, we get it, guys. Like, we're driving it home now. Women can read. We understand. It's the 90s. Like, good job.
Women can read now.
Yeah, okay. But I know somebody's going to be like, Phil's not being sarcastic. I actually don't.
I know we're diving.
We're starting to toe the line here, guys. Everything I've said so far has been very sarcastic. It's just funny to me that like at the time this is like what we're thinking, but it's so well done and it's all through the song, and we know every character that's important right now. We know that LeFou is nothing but a sidekick. We know Gaston is dreamy to everybody but Belle. We know Belle could give a damn, that she's more into something else that's out there that is just got to be somewhere else in her life. And that's it. That is the setup for the movie. It's that scene that immediately follows the entire setup of what the Beast is going through. And you literally, like we talked about in one of the other episodes, in 5 to 10 minutes, you know every single thing you need to know about this movie, about these characters, about the story, and about where we're about to go. And it's all done through really fun music and visuals and all of that. And it's just amazing. It's perfect.
It is. And then we meet her dad, who's fantastic. Mm-hmm. And he makes this shopping thing that you so eloquently described and needs to take it to the fair. Yes. And so they go out to the fair, get lost in the creepy woods, and this is where shit goes awry.
Yeah, so this is where the story really starts to take off here. And we go on a little brief hiatus of song here, which is interesting for a Disney movie of the sort. But so, yeah, they go on the journey. They go the wrong way. the wolves kind of not the wolves yet. No, it's not the wolves yet. So he comes to the castle. He goes looking for refuge. The Candle, Lumiere, and Cogsworth decide. Well, Cogsworth doesn't want him to be pulled up in the chair on the in front of the fire, because he knows it'll piss off the master, which it does, shockingly. He gets thrown into dungeon, and then we're back with Belle, and this is where Gaston has decided he's going to give her the best day of her life. He's going to marry her. He hasn't even proposed. He's going to marry her.
Anyone's life, honestly.
Yes.
So,
and all the girls are sobbing. Everything is set up. They're playing music. LeFou is there. And Gaston walks in to propose and then is going to walk out and marry her.
Correct. And this is where he gives another great quote. He's like, he's setting the stage. It's kind of like when someone's like, what's your perfect date? And you're like, this, that, and the other thing. Gaston's like, here's what I got for you. I have this, this beautiful chalet. This is my hunting home. Whatever he killed, she will be cooking. Wonderful. There will be 6 boys. There will be a dog. And I believe she's massaging his feet.
That's all she's doing.
Awesome night.
Yeah.
Ideal date night, honestly.
Yeah. Yes. She is just, his holy socks come out and you can tell that they smell, and that is it. That is
so good.
It's so good.
Because everything about Gaston is supposed to be super hot except for those.
Well, and Gaston is so confident that he's just waiting for her to say yes. And he's just walking around. Well, Belle, is it yes or oh yes? And as John Millsap puts it,
just like watching
he must love Beauty and the Beast as much as I do.
Yeah, just like kind of creeps around her house. It's not great, but
it's not great. And then she's like, "Well, Gaston, whatever," and she pushes him out into the mud pit, and they start playing the music and everything anyway. Yeah, and they start playing the music and everything, and it's great, and I love it. And when does she get the word that her father has been captured? Who tells her that?
The horse. I'm so glad you asked. The horse
shows up.
Just like dips.
That's because. Oh, that's right. Right after that scene where she pushes Gaston in, she runs out in the field to scream one more time that there must be more to this provincial life.
And then, boom, horse is like, "Well, I've got a proposal for you," and the horse just takes her to the castle.
Takes her to the castle,
and then we're met with Sophie's Choice.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Sophie's Choice. Which kid do you want to die this movie? Do you want to stay or let your father leave? Okay. Yeah. So they get to the castle. They're talking about how pretty she is, which is obviously important here. Yeah. Obviously, because bees couldn't possibly fall in with an Uggo, because that would not be okay for a man of the beast's stature.
Right. An Uggo is just
Uggo my ego, right? Lego my Uggo.
Yeah.
So that's what happens, right? They go there, and we're about to have about an hour's worth of some of the greatest songs ever written in the history of time. So get us to that point, Alexa, because my throat hurts.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, the only liquid I have within reaching distance is a White Claw, and I don't know if we're in that kind of mood right now. So she volunteers as tribute. Like, Dad is stuck, and Beast is super pissed. So she says, "All right, Dad, I'll take your place." But then the Beast is like, "Well, you have to stay forever." And again, doesn't really hesitate. Kind of is just like, "All right, I'm going to live here for the rest of my life." And this is where the Stockholm Syndrome really starts to kick in. But at first so Dad is gone, very sad. And at first she's living in the dungeon, but pretty much immediately all of the Beast companions are like, "She's kind of hot. You should put her in the nice room." So pretty much immediately he's like, "Oh wait, I'm actually attracted to her." So this is when we really started setting the motion. The fact that there could be a love interest here.
But what I do like about this one that a lot of the other ones don't, at least up until this point, is it does take them a little bit to actually start to like each other. And I think that really works because she sees the Beast step into the light and she's horrified by him. He's pissed off because he feels like he's being trespassed on. The others are putting it into their mind, and it's, "You will be down for dinner," and she decides to not come down for dinner because, of course, we need to be our guests. So thank God she didn't go to dinner, because if she would have went to dinner, this movie would have been ruined.
This movie sucked.
But so he gives her the bigger room. Everything is great. She gets the nice room. But yeah, then the Beast is like, "I'll see you at dinner." Doesn't happen. And he is really pissed off. So I like that he's not really doing it so much for his own purposes. He's doing it because like his bros are egging him on. It's like, come on, man. Like she's hot.
Like you want this, right? And he's like, no, I don't, even though he does.
It's like the ultimate frat boy. So that's what I'm telling. Like, so we got
Tuesday Akudas.
We got Beast the frat. God, Tuesday Akudas.
Sorry, yeah.
Oh my God, don't do this to me, man. Yes, he doesn't tell her about the library yet, John. None of that. So we go through. We get there. We are now at. She's not going to eat. Well, you can't stay in there forever. Yes, I can. Okay, of course.
Yes.
Of course. Being her, I was gonna make another anti-woman joke, but then I was I can't keep doing these. These are just gonna end up like,
movie,
yeah, I know. I was gonna say, being a woman, she goes downstairs to eat a midnight snack. No, but
that's something I do every night. So
no, just kidding. Oh my God, it's all sarcasm. So she ends up saying, "I can stay in here forever because we need a plot for the movie." She leaves. She goes down, and now she's gonna have dinner. Well, don't feed her all of that. And Lumiere is like, you got to be kidding me, man. I'm about to go and just release an absolute banger. Are you think me being cooped up in this dreary castle for the last 10 years or however long it's been, I'm going to not feed her? The pots and dishes have been ready for 10 years for this.
10 years.
10 years.
I'm about to drop this banger.
And so we get the most choreographed thing ever. And don't tell me he wasn't planning for this, because we get Be Our Guest, which is one of the catchiest Disney songs, and it gets in there and it does not want to leave.
Oh, it's a long one, and it's a good one, and it's intricate and it's choreographed. And in this one, unlike Under the Sea, which I think we both said, like, you kind of hum along to 80% of it, except for the Under the Sea part. This song came back to me immediately. I think Be Your Guest is probably, I know we said Under the Sea and Part of Your World are two of the best songs we've listened to so far. Be Our Guest knocks them out of the water, figuratively and literally.
Yes. And here Gamer Girl says it was Mrs. Potts who noticed Belle was hungry, which caused Lumiere to say,
oh, and little Chip is so cute.
Chip is great. We have a couple Chip moments coming up. But Be Our Guest, Be Our Guest comes back immediately. One other plot hole. It says, tie your napkin round your neck, Cherie. She puts it on her lap. She does not tie it around her neck.
Well, oh God, no, I'm kidding. I was going to make another joke.
Oh, we got to stop.
Well, I mean, she's in the company of a beast who then tries to eat with his hands. Mm-hmm. So,
this is before that, though. We are still long before
that.
Right.
So that's why they're perfect together, because neither of them have any manners.
Yes. Well, okay. So here we go. We have Be Our Guest, which is awesome. Anybody who's been to Disney World, Disneyland, Disney World has the Be Our Guest restaurant, which I somehow have never been to yet. I wish I had. But it opened right as we were leaving Miami, and I haven't really been to Florida much since. And the Philhar Magic thing has it where all the champagne bottles are popping and you get the explosion in the face.
Also, the Teacups is a top 5 Disney ride. Yes,
the Teacups. Well, I think the Teacups, though, are actually based on Alice in Wonderland because it's the Mad Hatter teacups. Yeah. Sorry, Alexa, you're out of the movie.
Okay.
This one, though, another song with a lot of great lyrics, and I have these ones up again. Try the gray stuff. It's delicious. I still, to this day, don't know what the gray stuff is, but she tries it and loves it.
Well, they are in France. Is it like pate?
I don't know.
Interesting. We should look that up. Okay, give me another one.
All right, I'm trying to go through here. I just we tell jokes, I do tricks with my fellow candlesticks, and it's all in perfect taste that you can bet. So I'm like, what?
Did someone keep betting?
I know. I'm like, I like betting, so that's the one. But yeah, okay, we've got a lot to do. Is it one lump or two? And they put the stuff in her tea, and I'm like, all right, so now she's gonna become diabetic. Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely
all the food that they have for her. They're just dishing out food. And this poor girl is just sitting there eating it all. And remember, this is after the Beast said, don't feed her anything. And now she's literally got a buffet.
Yeah. She's got a pregame to end all pregames.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
It is great. But I think the main course is just soup because they have that really cute moment of,
Isn't it soup du jour?
Oh, there you go. So French.
And then it's beef ragout, cheese souffle, pie and pudding en flambe,
Oh God, I'm starving.
That's what I'm saying. But the banquet's all prepared. Like what? Wait, no. And then he says, a culinary cabaret. You're alone and you're scared, but the banquet's all prepared. That doesn't sound. Now you're being
Everything sucks, but we've got a banging meal for you coming.
So here's my actual question: who is holding Belle hostage? Is it the Beast, or is it actually the kitchen staff?
It sounds like the kitchen staff is like kind of down with this.
And I mean, they have knives and forks. There's pointy objects here that she really can't escape from.
He's just having like a 13-year-old meltdown over in the corner. He's useless.
He's useless. So I love this. I love this entire scene. I love the whole thing of like him doing the cabaret scene. I don't know if anybody's ever seen Cabaret, or it's like Cabaret / Chicago. I know it's kind of based on both of those, but when he does the thing where he's got the hat on and he's just like, you know, the slow light on him, like his arm out and stuff. Like it's so perfect. I think it's so entertaining. It's just such a fun scene, and it's amazing how like 30 years later, essentially, it's still one of those scenes. Every time you watch it, you're just like, this is Disney at its chaotic best. It is just
so chaotic.
It's so chaotic, and it's so much fun to watch. There's so much happening, but it is so good.
So good. So they eat. They against everyone's wishes except for the kitchen staff. Belle and the Beast have a wonderful dinner together, and it's very cute because he's doing that thing where he's being a jerk to her because he likes her, but she's being really nice to him, and so they have a wonderful dinner together. And then she goes not back to her room. She goes to the West Wing, which is very dark, and sees a photo of the Beast, and he's looking real good. He's 11 years old and looking like a human.
Oh man. Yeah. And then he gets mad at her because you shouldn't have come in here. You don't know what you could have done. She decides to leave. The wolves attack. He saves her. All of this happens in this snowstorm.
Right. Again, conveniently, because the horse is just there.
The horse is just there. So she gets attacked. He saves her. He gets injured. Now he's nursing back to health. There's something there that wasn't there before. Another great song. Love that one. Really, really works.
Literally is licking his wounds. It's very cute.
Literally is licking his wounds like an adult. And then this is where they start to have their eating, and she's teaching him to be a little bit better. And instead of actually doing that, she decides to drink from the bowl too, because why would she just like actually teach him how to use a fork and knife? Right. Which all of that leads into Beauty and the Beast, which is another great song. It's like insane how the songs all just string together nonstop, because we skip the fact that Gaston's song comes in before that.
Oh my God, it does.
Gaston's song comes in right after Be Our Guest. So we literally go Be Our Guest, the Gaston song, which is it called just Gaston? And then it goes something there that wasn't there before, Beauty and the Beast. And now like we're into like the third act.
Exactly. It's like a very, very quick transition. Yeah. But let's talk about Gaston's song, because we just blew through like 20 minutes right there.
Yeah.
What is Gaston's like henchman's name? What's that like? He's
LeFou.
Buffoon.
LeFou.
Oh, well, I heard buffoon. So Gaston doesn't understand why she doesn't want to marry him. And so what he and all of his friends do is sing about how hot, successful, good at spitting, good at drinking he is. And it just makes him the most appealing guy on the planet. And it is a catchy, hilarious song. Phil, do you have any good lyrics you can
Oh, I have plenty, but do you know what LeFou means in French?
Probably something smelly.
It means the idiot. So LeFou it means the idiot, the fool, something like that.
John Milton, where are you getting this from?
Yeah, he's doing it. He also called the Bob Fosse, which I didn't want to say Bob Fosse because that would be way above people's pay grades here. But yes, when I mentioned Cabaret, that is exactly what I'm referring to. It's Liza Minnelli standing on the stage with MC looking like the devil behind her. All right, here we go. So.
No one.
Who? All right, here we go. We got to get through this. I'm looking for like the really good ones here because we have that whole thing with the expectorating. But this is one of my favorite verses ever. When I was a lad, I ate 4 dozen eggs every morning to help me get large. And now that I'm grown, I eat 5 dozen eggs, so I'm roughly the size of a barge. And then that turns into who has brains like Gaston, entertains like Gaston, who can make up these endless refrains like Gaston.
Yeah, they know.
Absolutely brilliant.
That is a wink. That is so meta.
It's so good though, because it's literally going from he eats all this stuff to be huge. Now we're gonna act like he's smart. Also, how are we doing all these refrains and keeping this going?
Also, what is going on? Like,
I love it.
it's so good.
I love everything about this song. And like what I love about it is like the girls are back in there too to like sing about him, and all the guys are just so into Gaston. And like I love how overly dramatic it all is.
It's
Like
so
he's
extra.
sitting there down in the dumps. Belle won't marry him. He can't possibly find another girl. How could he not get what he wants? And he's sitting in the chair and he's just mad at LeFou. He's mad at everybody else. And it takes LeFou starting a song with gosh, it disturbs me to see you, Gaston, looking so down in the dumps. Every guy here'd love to be you, Gaston, even when you're taking your lumps. It's a brilliant thing.
Lumps.
It's amazing.
I hate that.
I love it. It's so.
This is like a nice long song too. This is not like a hot 2 minutes. We get a good I feel 4 minutes of the song.
And it's I needed encouragement. Thank you, LeFou. Well, there's no one as easy to bolster as you. Is what LeFou says. It's amazing. It's so good.
His job is just to be Gaston's hype man.
It's amazing. It's so much fun, and in the fact that it's so different from Be Our Guest, but it's just as entertaining as Be Our Guest. And it's like we go from the opening, which is really well done and like almost serious. Like the opening scene of the movie is pretty serious, and then it goes into Belle singing and walking around. It's something we've seen before. We get the inventor, we get all of that stuff, we get whatever. And we have like a serious movie going. And then it just gets to this point where they just start pulling out every stop. And it is just scene after scene after scene where you're like, this scene's better than the last. This scene is better. Like you just can't get enough of it. And it all culminates with Beauty and the Beast, where they're going out and she's in the huge, in the beautiful, yellow dress or gold dress, whatever color it's supposed to be. And they're in the ballroom, and it's like that iconic scene that every kid has seen a million times and thinks they're going to live, which
after
Gaston
spits his beer across the tavern.
Exactly. And meanwhile, like Belle's poor dad is just trying to come in and be saved. And Gaston's like, there is a point to all of this.
Oh, right. Yes. I'm going to try to make it seem like her dad should go to a loony bin.
Yes.
But that is after Beauty and the Beast, which great song. My only gripe, Tale as Old as Time. I don't think it is.
I would say that it might be, because in terms of Beauty and the Beast, it's not so much that it's because he's a beast, but it's one of those things where like guys are always seen as the beast until they find their beauty. So like you even think about like Shakespeare. I don't know if you saw Shakespeare in Love, but it's like you did.
Yes.
Wow, I'm impressed. Alexa has seen a movie.
I think I saw it in like English class or something.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. But so in Shakespeare in Love, like it's this whole thing of like Shakespeare can't finally be him. He's just a drinking, terrible playwright who's in with the whores and all that. And like now he has found his beauty. And I think that that's more of what they're trying to say. I don't have as much of a problem with that line as I do with the fact that they've been locked away for 10 years.
That is a hugely problematic issue. Also, I like the camera work is obviously the wrong word here, but it feels like there's a drone like in.
Oh, it's camera work. Yeah.
That's really cool. I feel like you don't really see that at this point in animated movies.
No, absolutely not. Because so much was like hand drawn. It's a lot of the it's all like motion, whatever. And it's only so much you can do with the camera, but the fact that it comes in as if these are real people, it's really, really well done.
It's awesome. It's fantastic.
Yeah. It's really good. I'm trying to think what other scenes did we miss. We have them like getting their cutesy. There's something there that wasn't there before, all of that stuff. And then Chip here says like, I don't see it. What happened? And they're like, we'll tell you about it when you're older. And it's like, they're dancing. What do you need to tell them when they're older?
I don't know what they're doing or what
do you think they're doing here, kids?
But at this point, she realizes, or she sees through that like crystal ball thing, that her dad is in huge trouble. because Gaston wants to send him away. And this is where our first like huge misinterpretation comes in. The Beast lets her leave to go help her dad. He thinks this is permanent. Do we think she thinks this is permanent, or she's not thinking that way?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, she's definitely, but that's again why Belle is actually such a good character. And this is serious and not my sarcastic jokes. The reason she's such a good character, again, is because they managed to make it so that she's blowing off Gaston. She has this guy who like things are starting to work out with, but she still puts her father and family first. And in a lot of these movies, it would just be like, oh, well, the guy's going to have to save it. And it's her who goes back to do this herself. Like, it's not, oh, we need to send the Beast back or we need to send somebody else back. It's Belle is going to go back and take care of this issue herself.
Yeah, she's got this. And she nails it.
She nails it.
He brings the mirror, which is
brings
very
the mirror
because she needs proof because the dad is saying that there's a beast and Gaston says he's crazy and
creepy loony guy too. I don't like him.
Creepy loony. Yes, correct. LeFleur is what you said his name is?
Well, LeFou is the young guy who ends up being this
right.
the snowman.
Like, this guy's totally insane. Like, get this guy out of here. But Belle, luckily, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm talking about the guy who actually like works for the insane asylum or whatever. That guy is terrifying. He's like green. The guy has formaldehyde in his body.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what happens when you work at a place like that. But Belle is like, no, my dad is not crazy because this is what the Beast looks like, and whips out the mirror. She brings her receipts. Absolutely love that.
Yes. And again, this is why the characterization of Gaston is so good, is because he's a hunter. And now he thinks if he can go kill the Beast, he's going to be able to kill the Beast, put another head on his mantle, and he's going to get the girl because he's that, masculine. He was able to kill the Beast.
Right. And Gaston's like, I feel like you're into this guy. And she's like, oh my God, no, I'm not. Like, I'm so not into him.
And he doesn't like that.
He doesn't. So he's like, I need to end his life.
Yes.
So Gaston and his cronies head over to the castle and they get into it. They just start storming in there. This is where we have our big fight scene. And this is a long one too. And this isn't a quick, like, oh, the witch just like falls backward off the cliff. Like there's a lot of action here. There's a lot of back and forth.
And another fun song. I don't know what this one's called, so I'm sure somebody in the chat will say it, but it's the one where like they're talking like get your pitchforks and your axe and whatever, and they're marching their way out there with all the stuff, and they get word at the castle that it's happening, right? Like they somehow get notified. And maybe I'm doing the order on this wrong, but they definitely know that it's coming, and I'm not sure why they know. Maybe it's the horse again, but I'm not sure why they know. But it's Chip who ends up saving the day and getting Belle and her father out of the basement because he uses the axe chopper thing.
Thank God it exists.
Yeah, and they're saying it's literally called the mob song.
The mob song. Okay, well that's easy enough.
Nice. So they're the mob. They're going to take down the Beast. They're going to slay the Beast. But then in the house, they're preparing for them to come. They're preparing, and all the I don't know, what would you call it, like furniture is ready to kill.
Utensils, yeah,
they're ready to murder and kill and take down whoever they need to. This is like a more violent Disney song too. I don't actually have the lyrics up for this one.
This one is pretty violent, and it's, especially with like the major fight scene of Gaston versus the Beast. There's a lot of slashing. There's a stab. We get a straight up stab. And again, you think the Beast is going to die, and then Gaston just like totally like can't close the deal. Like stabs him and then just falls.
And just falls to his death. Yeah, there's a couple times he's able to trick the Beast. He's crying, cowering for his life. Don't hurt me. Right. Belle comes in, saves the day, is up there to get the Beast. He reaches for her, and then Gaston tries to kill him. And Gaston does the typical Disney fall to death.
The typical. It's also raining, which is a consistent, definitely a consistent thing. One thing that I completely took me out of the scene is I think Gaston and the Beast are fighting, and Belle sees it happening, and she goes, "Beast," because that's what his name is.
I know. I thought it was funny how they never call him anything else except
that
Beast.
Totally took me out of the scene.
Yeah, I always found that interesting too. But I guess when it's a Disney movie, you don't want to give a name to a character that's also be referred to as the Beast the entire time, because it like causes confusion, probably for like kids, where it's like, what's his name?
So Gaston, may he rest in the most peace, The Beast is not doing hot.
Mm-mm.
So she tells him that she loves him.
And this is one of the more realistic, again, reversed. He's the one who's dying. He's the one who needs the true love's first kiss. He's the one who needs her to get him to be able to live. And we really are stumped that he's dead. And then he comes shining back to life, literally lightning bolts shooting out of his toes.
Wow. Yes.
Amazing.
And great timing too, because that last petal of the rose was on the ground.
It had just fallen, and they all thought, I mean, poor Lumiere was going to be a candlestick his entire life.
Any idea what I just pulled out for this, and this is
and this is what's going to end up happening. I also love the little scene of Lumiere and the whatever the French maid's name is, but when they're still as their cell, they're not at their human selves yet, and they're messing around behind the curtain. Hilarious. It's hilarious. So good.
Okay.
Yes. So we end up getting to this point where they go to she saves him. He turns into a very handsome man. Some would say more handsome than Gaston, although I disagree.
No one is hotter than Gaston.
No.
But honestly, that's a huge prize. I get the guy, and also he's hot now.
And he's hot now, and he has a castle, and now everybody else turns into a human. I like how Chip just ends up being a normal person. They all turn into regular people. They go to the wedding. Another great scene with Lumiere where the French maid walks by and he does his very French, and it's so good.
It's so funny.
It's so good. I love it. It's so amazing.
The entire secondary cast in this movie is fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of the better secondary casts because they almost play as real characters because they're going back and forth.
Squidman, you should watch these movies.
Also, this came out 29 years ago, and also watch classic Disney movies. I wasn't alive when Snow White came out. I still watched it.
Beauty and the Beast had a live remake 5 years ago, so it's very relevant.
Yeah, and it's a tale as old as time, man. Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait until we watch The Lion King and people are like, "What's this?"
Yeah, that's a problem. We're not old. The rest of the world is old. But yes,
these chronologically.
So that's the entire story. That's all Beauty and the Beast with feminism jokes and anti-feminism jokes loaded in.
I know, we really went far on this one.
It's a good thing I do this with you because if I was doing this podcast with Will, I don't think we'd be allowed to get away with saying those things.
Yeah, so that's why I was brought in.
Yes, and John Millsip.
I think the jokes is okay.
Yeah, you're allowed to do it, and you laugh at my jokes. So John Millsip, we weren't alive when Beauty and the Beast came out. We weren't. Nobody in this podcast was alive when this movie came out.
No, close though. After this, I think we were alive.
Alexa, I want to ask you this because I just think this is fun.
Hold on.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
She's got to stop doing that.
Look at the help section.
I changed the name of my Wi-Fi. I changed it from my Spectrum Wi-Fi, whatever, to New England Clam Router, and she got a little confused.
That is I know you think that's clever. That is very clever, but that is annoying.
Isn't it annoying? Yeah.
Oh, it's that makes me so aggravated.
I knew it would bother you.
Here's my question to you, considering I find it hilarious. So Beauty and the Beast is the first animated movie nominated for Best Picture. Do you know what beat it that year? Don't look at the chat.
We talked about it. So no.
The Silence of the Lambs. Literally the most opposite movie ever. Imagine Beauty and the Beast. How do you sit there and look, I love both of them.
Both of those.
They're both amazing movies. But how do you sit there and say Beauty and the Beast versus Silence of the Lambs and then say this one is better than that one? One is a song and dance and be our guest and all that, and the other one is literally about a murderer who eats people. How do you decide which one of those two things is better?
Sounds like the murderer wins.
Yeah, first horror movie to win Best Picture. That's right, John, and it's the only one to this day that won.
That is absolutely insane. Those are the two movies.
Those were the two movies. Those were I'm not sure if those were the favorites. I think Bugsy came out that year, but Bugsy stinks. Anyway, that's what I got. You got anything else?
I've got nothing else. This has been a roller coaster.
This has been a fun one.
Phil, can you remind me which movie we're watching next?
Let me tell you in a second. We are watching Aladdin next.
We're watching Aladdin. I love Aladdin. Oh, this is going to be a fun one.
Yes.
So yeah, we're going to watch Aladdin, when did that come out?
1992.
Oh, I was not around.
Yeah, I had just been born. 91 was Beauty and the Beast. 92 is Aladdin. 94 was Lion King.
Okay, gotcha. So Aladdin is the last. So Phil is present for Aladdin. I was not born yet.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But so yeah, next week we're going to be recapping Aladdin as well as episode 2 of Survivor China. We've kind of been moving these Disney ones around to Sunday or Monday, depending on what our schedules look like. Survivor China, we're going to try to keep that on Wednesdays. So to keep in the Survivor spirit, as we mentioned, I don't know, like an hour ago on our other podcast, we are going to be we'll be doing a Q&A podcast as we always do for our $5 monthly patrons. And for our $10 patrons, we are keeping the Disney theme alive, and we will cast a Heroes versus Villains cast, but with Disney animated movie characters. So become a patron. For our $20 patrons, have we finished the daily content with the top 100? Because we have more daily content coming out after that will include both of us, which is going to be awesome.
I have 8 more days left of the daily content for my top 100. The number one person, which all of you probably know because you follow me or whatever, will be revealed on the September 23rd. And then the daily content continues, but only for $20 patrons on September 24th. And that is going to be our bracket for favorite episodes.
Yeah. So for those of you who are not $20 patrons, but are patrons, make sure to up that, because we did, we polled our patrons. We asked them for 2 of their favorite episodes, and we created this pretty cool bracket to decide which is the best episode of Survivor. So become a $20 patron for that. Become a $1 patron to hang out on our Facebook page, which has actually become pretty active recently. So there are talks of a Secret Santa / White Elephant / Yankee Swap, whatever terminology people use in their region of the country or world. So stay tuned for that. Anything else I'm missing, Phil?
I think that's it. We will be back at some point next week with our next episode of this, and we will definitely be back next Wednesday with our episode 2 of China rewatch. So enjoy, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this one, because I thought this was our most fun.
This was our most fun one yet. Everyone have a wonderful